Anna, just to start out, can you just tell us a little bit about how you got going in the business, where you started out, and how you got to where you are today?
Well, I grew up in Maine, so it was kind of an unlikely place to start, but my parents were really, really cool about supporting what I wanted to do at a really young age. I think it was about 10 when I kind of got the bug or whatever, and they would drive me down to New York if there were auditions. And when I was 12, I did this show on Broadway called High Society, and so sort of moved to New York for the run of that, and that was kind of how I got started.
Okay, and Rocket Science, did somebody just spot you and see you and
well,
say,
actually, I just auditioned for Rocket Science, and I did this film called Camp before that. I don't know if that was part of the casting director's decision to bring me in for Rocket Science or not, but Rocket Science was just a pretty cut and dry kind of audition situation.
Mm-hmm. And, I was up at Sundance when Rocket Science kind of exploded and everybody loved it, and they kept talking about you, and people love to talk about like how fast you talked in that movie. I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was really nerve-wracking and difficult. Everybody would kind of ask me how I learned to do it, and I never really had a clear answer. It was just a matter of kind of just trying it again and again, and spitting it out, and just sweating buckets during every take.
Yeah, I would think so, because your character needs to be so self-assured.
Yeah. She
can't say one word incorrectly. If you stumble just once, and plus that it was an indie film, so it's not like they had tons of film to burn.
And so I would really try to get it right, because I knew that we had a tight schedule, and so when I would mess up, the cursing that would follow was really severe, because I would be so disappointed in myself. I was just trying so hard to kind of just get it together and power through it.
And was Catherine like a fan of Rocket Science, or had she even seen it? Do you know?
Yeah, Catherine actually saw Rocket Science at Sundance. And
she was on the jury that year, right?
Yeah. And she was actually the one who presented the award to the director, Jeff Blitz, at the closing kind of ceremonies, which was really cool.
That is pretty cool that she was sitting there in the audience, watching it as a juror, and looking at you and going, wow, I'd love to use that guy someday.
Yeah.
And now here you are. So tell us a little bit, believe it or not, there are some people out there that might not necessarily know who your character is. So give us your breakdown.
No, I always feel like if you read the books a little while ago, maybe you wouldn't remember my character. So I think that's totally valid. Jessica is just, she's a friend of Bella's, but she's just human. So she is kind of a chatterbox and really insecure, and she basically is kind of jealous of all the attention that Bella gets, and but I think she likes Bella, but at the same time is kind of feels a little threatened, but kind of wants to keep her as close as possible.
Mm-hmm. So is it safe to say that she's kind of like the character from Rocket Science, but with definitely lower self-esteem? Or what other differences do you see between the two?
I think they're completely different. I don't think that, because I think that a lot of people, when they think of Jessica, just sort of remember her as the witch, let's say. And I don't really think that it's as much, she's kind of catty, but she's just so kind of pathetic and just hopelessly insecure, and pretends to be confident, but is just kind of a mess. So it was actually kind of really fun to just be a mess and embarrass myself and make situations as awkward and uncomfortable as possible.
Like what kind of stuff do you do?
Just like the first time I see Bella and Mike talking, because I like Mike in the movie, just sort of trot over and weasel my way into the convo, and just make it really, really awkward, because it's so clear that I have this agenda of I really like you, and please don't talk to him because I like him. It's just kind of sad.
So when we had Melissa in here, the screenwriter, she was saying that in the movie, at least, Jessica's been tweaked a bit to be more of a combination between Jessica and Lauren.
Yeah. I think certainly the cattiness is played up a little bit, but I think that some people actually tend to get Jessica and Lauren confused. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like she was just so, like, everything about the character to me seemed just really awkward. And because she's just clearly not this, 10-foot-tall, blonde, hot girl. So it's not like she really has the firepower to be the really catty, mean girl. So the attempts come off really, like, just awkward, and they're not really, they don't really have that venom, because she's just kind of pathetic. I don't know. And she just wants to be liked so much. She's just so desperate.
So she kind of thinks or wants to kind of be like the Angelina Jolie.
Yeah,
like,
I think she would love to be like the alpha female, and it's just not happening.
The crush on Edward.
Oh, yeah.
In the books a little bit, too. So obviously we know you and Mike have a thing going on throughout the movies, too. But tell us about the scenes with Robert and developing your crush. Is that played down a bit, or is it still pretty much the same in the movie?
I think it's pretty much the same. It would just basically be, if he would walk by, it's easy to get kind of googly-eyed at Rob because, he's so dreamy. And then the one scene, actually the one scene where we really interact, and Angela and I are supposed to be dazzled by him. That was the word in the script. Was really fun, and I think it was my last night of shooting, and it was kind of hard not to laugh the entire time, just because to really play up that googly-eyed, dazzled thing felt really funny. But
what did you guys do to depict it, to manifest it?
Well, Rob kept giving me this look that was his, like, charming smile, but I thought it was his I'm about to laugh smile, which would make me laugh. And but it actually kind of ended up working, because it was essentially uncomfortable laughter, and it really kind of made sense that I would be fighting this, like almost like the church giggles when you're so, like, shocked, or I don't know. It's kind of, I think it might look kind of cute. I don't know. Like, just that I can't, like, the second he speaks to me, it's almost like I get the church giggles,
You said you guys did a lot of improv and stuff like that. So what's one thing that maybe you guys added to the book a little bit that you're particularly proud of? Maybe something you came up with, or?
Oh, I don't know.
Something the fans can watch and go, ooh, that's Anna who came up with that.
I don't know. Well, there is one thing. It's so small, but like just this this line Kristen has. Oh, I never know what I'm allowed to say. Kristen has this line about eating disorders, and then it sort of like cuts to me with a big chunk of food in my mouth. And it's actually, I don't know why it's so funny, but I think it's really funny. It's just like this forkful of grapes or something. I don't know. Maybe it's not funny.
Like, what did she say? Like, most girls here, are so skinny they they have eating disorders, and then you're just picking it out?
I see, out of context, it doesn't really make sense.
Okay.
I wish I could come up with something better, because it doesn't really make sense, like, without the whole. Let me think. Well, I mean, this isn't an intentional added improv, but I think I'm jumping a lot in all the outdoor scenes, it just looks like I'm jumping around, but it's because it's so cold. So if you were there, it would make perfect sense that I'm like jumping, but since you can't feel how cold it was that day, it looks like I'm just jumping around, which is really weird.
So when we see Twilight, we should look in the background for you just leaping around like you're just so carefree.
Just sort of like bouncing. I don't know. Very bizarre. I mean, it was a cakewalk after Rocket Science, yeah, it was actually, I think I remember Stephanie Meyer that day that I was doing all the big speech about, you know, the Cullens and how weird they are, but secretly how I'm in love with them. And because it was just a lot of dialogue, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah, she's quite a chatterbox, but it wasn't too bad because it all seemed to kind of make sense and just come from this really sweetly, like, just desperate place. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. There's some kind of trick that you have for like these kinds of movies where, like, you know, when the other actor's delivering the line and you know you're just about to go, you just take like a huge breath like you're about to go, you know, for diving or something?
Well, I mean, like with Jessica, again, if, you know, she's got this agenda, particularly about gossip, that I think once she sees her opportunity to start dishing, like all other noise is just blocked out. It's like, you know, so other actors' dialogue, I think Jessica's just waiting for her turn to be like, oh yeah, and Alice is really weird, and, you know, Emmett's really bizarre, and blah.